All right, so let's start in some recordings, and yeah, this talks about the about another casualties in relationships gone wrong chapter, and this talks about Tamika Richards. Yeah, no, for those who know, that's a lady who well basically became another marriage statistic over the weekend, and because how it was set up was that her body was found in her apartment with her, I think, her throat cut, and for the way the nature of how that setup is. Yeah, this is basically a love respect gone wrong, and yeah, Politics Watch and the others basically confirm, okay, yeah, that her and her boyfriend didn't have a really good relationship, and basically he's now the prime suspect in this case. So let's read what it says. So, neighbors of 37-year-old Tamika Richards, whose body was found stab wounds and her throat slashed this Sunday, said she had many fights with her boyfriend, who's no person interested in the murder. Raheem Woodhouse, 27, was given until yesterday by police to term himself in questioning, which was reportedly trying to end their rocky relationship. And yeah, they basically said that they basically had a lot of fights, and when they say fights, it mean physical. Our neighbor said on the ground floor, our neighbor said, they said she wanted to leave him, but he basically apparently was of that mindset, was if I can't have you, no one else can, and so on. And basically, the neighbors again confirmed that, yeah, they witnessed and heard a lot of their fights, which fortunately, from what is read, became very violent. So on. All right, so it is reported that concerned neighbors went to Richard's home at 6:30 a.m. Because apparently heard some screams earlier on after trying to feel contact with her, and then basically found her with lying in a pool of blood. With yeah, I'm not going to read the grisly details, but what's contradictory is that they said okay, they found her body or throat slash, but even though they heard noises like way before, well, I think before midnight, according to what Politics Watch is saying. But then when they said okay, they tried to get into the house. All right, and apparently they said that her two children were there, and we have to say a prayer for these two children though, because they don't say how old the boys are. I think she's 37. I don't know if that they're babies, they're teenagers. They're not giving the age of the boys, but we have to pray for them though, because a lot of them probably witnessed the fights that her and her then boyfriend had, and obviously they're going to be so psychologically scarred for this, especially if they've seen the dead body of her mother with her throat cut. And yeah, like I said, if what is just basically saying is that I'm just saying is that you have to kind of vet who you get into relationships with, because if it's obvious that this wasn't an overnight thing, if the guy did it because it's indicated that he had a primary role, he's a prime suspect in it, because and so on, it's very likely that obviously that this was a very rocky relationship from a good while, or so on. Because I'm willing to bet that she probably knew that there was something off about this guy, and then she said, okay, I'm gonna rather than just not heed the warning signs, I'm just gonna keep staying in this relationship until it goes wrong. And again, I'm sure that those poor kids had to see their mom being having most likely physically roughed up by her boyfriend. I don't think it's indicated that the boyfriend is the father, biological father of her two children. Because it's not mentioned that he's the dad. So I'm just wondering, hopefully the biological father's in the pictures, because he's going to have to, if he's in the picture, he's going to have to pick up the slack and take care of his children. But there's just so much more to the story. But this is again, this unfortunately, it was unfortunate. It was sickening, not surprising how the events of this killing ended up. Because I knew from the get go this was like a domestic dispute gone very bad. And as I see how it goes in, no, if he did it, no, hopefully two things happen. One, that they catch this guy very quickly and they throw the book at him. Or two, if some people about that life give him jungle justice and light him up and save the police the trouble. Yeah, that would probably. That's also. I wouldn't feel any way about that as well, because when you're there that wicked enough to basically kill someone who has two children, and yeah, people are gonna say maybe she was no angel, maybe she was on some bullshit and stuff, but Again, if again it'll be a case that if she was on some bullshit and the guy he saw it, he should have left. Cause no, these your two children have to grow up without their mother and have to remember how they lost their mother in such a very grim and tragic way. Because obviously, if he did it, and I'm saying if he did it, because unless it turns out there is someone else that actually did it, okay, he wasn't thinking about how those two poor children are going to turn out. Even if the mother, well, regardless of the nature of the mother, it wasn't okay. He should have thought about those two children. And again, like I said, it's indicated that he's not the biological father or so on. I could be wrong, but they have to say my praise to those poor kids though, because a lot of these children see a lot of this very fucked up shit where their parents, like especially the moms, are murdered or killed by their abusive boy partners, and then they have to grow up without that person in their life, and they end up becoming psychologically scarred. So we just hope that justice is done in this. So, but again, this I knew this was a domestic dispute gone wrong. And again, it didn't really have to be Kojak, Matlock, Perry Mason to kind of put two and two together in that regard. So this is for State of Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out my YouTube pages, Miles Gusson Farron, Miles Productions, Real Thoughts and Miles. Ciao.